The best way that I could describe PTSD is it's kind of like a volcano. In some vets, it lies dormant to where it's there, but surrounding smells, noises can make it erupt, explode, and everything else. What I noticed about meds is that when you're on them, your emotions are not your emotions. They try to bury your emotions deeper instead of actually letting them out, to which I personally feel that most vets need to do. I would truly love to see the VA put in place to where it actually helps the families and not just the veteran deal itself. What the VA likes to see is proof. They have to see some type of a military record stating, hey, you did this, you done that night, you went to sick call for this.
Hi, my name is Rachel Nash. I'm a board certified patient advocate. We have a very special guest today, Tom Porbaugh, and he is a veteran and he has PTSD. And we are going to talk about what it's like to have PTSD and certainly the power of advocacy. Not everybody knows about professional advocacy, but I feel like we often hear about PTSD from policymakers, leaders, professionals, expertise in PTSD, professors, but we don't always hear it from veterans. And I think, I think that voice really matters, and not what everyone else says you need, but what is it that you actually need? And what is it that we can learn from a person that has PTSD? And I think that is important to share. I know you're a combat veteran with actually 100% rating.
Yes, ma'am.
For PTSD. So we're going to explore your story. And I know that you have invisible wounds, of course, and how the systems have helped you or fallen short. And most important, I want to know if patient advocacy can help fill in the gaps. And not me telling you what I can do for you, but what can patient advocates across the nation? We're a new field. There's over 1,400 board certified patient advocates. What can we do to help the veterans?
All right.
So I would like you, if you could start and tell me a little bit about yourself, where you were raised, and just kind of who Tom is.
Well, I was born and raised in Mercer County, Pennsylvania. Joined the Army when I was 17. It was a split option that the Army offered, to where a junior going into his senior year of high school could go and do basic training during the summer.
Okay.
And then he could go back for his senior year of high school. And then after high school, he has the option of either staying in the reserves or switching over to a different branch or active duty or anything else. So when I was a senior, 9/11 occurred. And I just knew then and there that I couldn't be in the reserves anymore. I had to switch over to active duty. So as soon as I graduated, I switched over, went and did my job training as field artillery. Then I got stationed in Fort Riley, Kansas.
Okay.
And then from Fort Riley, Kansas, April 2003, we got shipped over to Iraq. Spent there from 03 to 04. Came back for about 6 months or so. Then we went back over again, 05 to 06. And then we came back. And
so how many, was it 2 tours?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So was 9/11 something that, do you feel like a calling? You were called because of 9/11? I heard that, or did I not hear that?
I mean, not really. I mean, ever since I was a child, I knew that I wanted to join the service. I could think back to when I was 5 or 6 playing guns and, G.I. Joes and everything else. So I knew that this is what I had to do.
So what led you to military?
That's a good question. Basically that my way I was raised and brought up in that, I knew I wanted to do something with my life. And I knew that college was really not an option because I wasn't the best in school. So I wanted to be more hands-on. Mm-hmm. So that's when I thought, hey, this is the best choice in that. And I wanted to do a career, but it didn't wind up the way I wanted it to go. So.
Okay. All right. So tell me what stands out in when you were in the military? What stands out that will always stand out that,
The brotherhood.
okay, can you talk about it?
Oh, when you're in the service, it's one giant family. That's, I mean, when I was growing up in that, family was not that big of an issue. I mean, it wasn't important. But when you join the service in that, you're locked in to where your brothers and sisters have your back for most of the part. We'd go out in groups,
Mm-hmm.
to like the clubs, the bars, and we'd go in herds to where there was like 20 to 30 and that just deep. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So what is it like? Does that brotherhood exist when you get out of the military, or is that something that you
So
really miss?
I miss it every day, yes, but at the same time, I still keep in contact with a lot of my brothers and that who I served with. A few of them are still in, made high ranking and everything else, and that a lot got out. So, I mean, it varies on the person and
Mm-hmm.
everything else. So,
What does it mean to be, for the viewers, to be 100% PTSD? And can you tell me
oof.
how that impacts you? But what does that mean? And you don't have to. There's no right or wrong answer. But for you, what is 100% PTSD? How about that?
I mean, I guess for me, I mean, to when I first got back, I did a lot of drinking, to where it got to the point that one of the ways that I coped with it was drinking.
What did you cope with?
Just the fact that I didn't want to remember to what occurred over there.
Okay.
There's in both tours there's some stuff that I can remember. There's a lot of stuff I blocked out or I just can't remember in general. And uh, I've been through the VA since 2010. I've seen a lot of different counselors and everyone else. And the best way that I could describe PTSD is it's kind of like a volcano.
Mm-mm.
I mean, in some vets, it lies dormant to where it's there, but surrounding smells, uh, noises can make it erupt, explode, and everything else in that. There's a lot of veterans that I've met who are still don't think that they have it, but the signs are there.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it was basically my ex-wife that brought everything to the surface to where she knew that I wasn't right, to where I had to get help and talk to a person, to
Okay.
which I wasn't a fan of really talking to anyone. I kept to myself. I still talk to my brothers and sisters, but when it came to that aspect, I was in denial. And
Mm-hmm.
I could say that a lot of vets are in denial that they actually have it.
Are there some that maybe don't have it? Is that
Uh,
possible?
I mean,
That have been through, that may not have it, and then
yes,
some do. Is it?
yes.
Um, could it be a personality type too,
See
or
that
what do you think? I'm just
I
curious.
cannot answer that because I'm not a doctor.
Okay.
I mean, I have some of my brothers in that who I went over with in that they're fine. It's just like, yeah, it's just an everyday thing,
Mm-hmm.
but some are worse off than I am,
Okay.
and there's some who are a lot worse off than the other ones in that, but won't seek help for it. And I can contribute that the fact that me having this has caused a major dysfunction in my life. It was one of the main reasons for my marriage.
Mm-hmm.
My kids are not a huge fan of it.
So when you were leaving the military, and they understood that you did 2 tours, right? And you've seen things, heard things, smelled things, experienced things that some of us will never understand. Did they prepare you to say, okay, we're not going to just help. We're not just going to go through the motions of, okay, this is what you do, this process, but we're going to help you really navigate and help you understand that, you know, these are some things, the lifelong things that you may have to do.
Not really, no. And I could say that I don't think anybody can really prepare you for it or say it. You know, I mean, unless you've been there, seen it, done it, you know, and have that firsthand experience. So, I mean, I think that they try to transition us out as best as they can, but there's still a lot of aspects to where they don't fully grasp. So,
Do they check on you? Do they check in on you
uh,
afterwards because they understand the magnitude of what you faced when you were serving and you were, you know, because combat veterans are
in my experience, no.
okay.
Okay. Other vets may have different experiences. Again, I'm on my third VA now. And from what I could tell from this VA and just the VA in general is that they do a lot of outsourcing.
Okay.
You know, I truly feel that the VA is understaffed and a lot of their counselors don't fully grasp the concept of what it is to actually have PTSD.
Okay.
And then if something changes, then you got to switch to a different person and then a different person, you know, and you really cannot build a rapport with a counselor if you're being bounced around from person to person.
That's true. That's true. When I was driving here, I was thinking about the word. I was thinking about cultural competence. Do you
Okay.
know what that is?
Not really.
All right. Well, it's important to be able to match somebody with you that has been there or maybe understands, or maybe they weren't a combat veteran, but maybe they were in military, or maybe they know someone, or they have that understanding and they have that level of empathy. But perhaps the best type of counselor would be somebody that was a combat veteran that's been there, right? Would that be helpful?
Ooh,
To help, that has, you know, really overcome a lot and can sit with you and say, okay, yeah, I get it, and let's talk. I'm going to listen.
I mean, I would have to say yes and no at the same time, and that
Okay.
because again, it's like I said, for some vets who do have PTSD, and that it can be sight, smells, sounds, and if you're having to deal with a counselor on a one-on-one basis, and say for some reason that counselor just has a flashback or something,
Oh, that counselor's triggered by
exactly
the same thing that you're triggered
yes,
by.
ma'am.
Okay.
And that and I don't think that would be a great thing, but no, I mean, it does help to where a person can relate to what that person has been through.
Mm-hmm.
But again, each person's story is different.
Right.
Each person's experience is different.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't really pinpoint one event that caused this person to have PTSD.
Right. Right. So what have you had good counselors? Are you happy with the counselor? It sounds like you've had several.
So when I was up in Pennsylvania, whenever I first got out of the service, I was seeing a counselor where we actually had a really good rapport to where I saw her for I think either 8 or 9 years.
Oh.
Yeah. To which was great.
That's really good.
Yeah,
that's really good.
I had a good line of communication with her. I mean, there was still some things that I didn't want to talk about, to which she got that. But then she got a promotion, and then she switched over to be a lead, to which is more responsibility and more cases and everything else in that. So then when that occurs, then you basically have to get reassigned to a different person.
Okay.
So I have had that occur on numerous of times, to which I'm not a huge fan of it. I've also seen a person on the outside of the VA also in that, to which the VA does a lot of outsourcing So, but then again, her role changed to where she got bumped up to a different spot in that. So I had to go see a different person.
Okay.
So,
So tell me what 100% PTSD looks like on a day-to-day life. If we don't know, can you tell me what that might look like on your worst day or your best day, or
so
both?
again, each person is different.
For you.
Okay. For me, basically like last weekend that it was real hot here, and real humid. And I stepped outside on my front porch and that, and just the gasp of the hot air and that it took me back to when I was back over there and how hot it was over there.
Over where?
Over in Iraq.
Okay.
So there's triggers, some sounds in that I might startle easily. I'm not when I sleep, I like my space. There was a few times when I was married to when my ex-wife said that I've had a few dreams or so to where I started to thrash out in the bed. I've thrown stuff, just stuff like that.
Okay.
But the last 3 years, I've found a new way to handle my PTSD. Well, it's not for everyone, but again, my main thing was I got around the right group of guys to help me out. A few of my friends are veterans. That and church has helped a lot.
Good.
That and what really helped me let go of a lot of what I had, because a lot of what I felt was nothing but anger. And that's what I personally feel a lot of vets have is they hold on to that emotion of anger, and all they see is red, where any and every little thing could set them off real quickly.
Okay.
But when I gave my life to God in that and told him that I can't deal with this anymore, I want to lay it at your feet and you deal with it.
Right.
That's when I just felt a tremendous burden just come off me. And since then, I cope with it a lot better. But another thing with that is that to when you're going to try to get your raises and everything else in that, one of the things that veterans need to know is that you're not supposed to tell your person who you're talking with through the VA that you're fine. I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm dealing.
Yeah.
I manage.
Yeah.
Because as soon as they hear that and that, they jot down everything in their notes. And whenever it comes to do a revow, then they see that. And then they're just going to say, well, this vet is doing so and so such, instead of saying, hey, this is what is really going on.
Yeah. Well, in my experience, the veterans I work with, they downplay everything.
Yes, ma'am.
Everything. And I did want to, because I really do like how you say, I'm just one person with PTSD. I can't speak for others. When you meet one person with PTSD, how many people have you met? One. Get it?
Yeah.
Get it? So yes, there's similarities, right? Triggers, your trigger might not be someone else's trigger, but the overall diagnosis disease, does have similarities, but you are your own person, and your PTSD isn't going to look exactly like someone else's PTSD.
Exactly.
So I did want to make that clear.
Yes, ma'am. And a thing that which you and I have talked about a few days ago in that, and just before we started this and that, was about how the VA and medication goes hand in hand. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The which for a long time, I was on so many different type of meds because of my PTSD and everything else and that, to where I could think back to one time to where I actually had a breakdown and my wife had to drive me to the VA because of the fact that they kept switching med after med after med to try to find out what works.
That's exhausting.
Very.
That's exhausting.
So about a year ago, I decided that what was best for me was, and again, for me.
For you.
Yes.
For you.
that I didn't want to be on meds. I noticed that I was not myself to when I was on meds, and what I noticed about meds is that to when you're on them, your emotions are not your emotions. They try to bury your emotions deeper instead of actually letting them out, to which I personally feel that most vets need to do.
Okay. That's a good point. And one of the things I heard you say and I really liked is because when I talk about mental illness as a person who struggles with mental illness myself, I always say there's a recipe, and your recipe and my recipe are different.
Yes, ma'am.
But it's not just medication, it's not just therapy. You're involved in your church.
Yes, ma'am.
You're involved in the men's group.
Yes,
you're
ma'am.
involved with your family, and you do all of these things, and it's like making a cake. And when you bake a cake, you can't just have eggs, right? You have to have all of these other things. So I'm hearing you really, the work you've done. I hear the work you've done. I know it doesn't really ever go away, but it's almost like you're getting to a place where you're getting to a good place because of all the things that you've done.
Yes, ma'am.
To get there.
Yeah, and again, there are good days, there's bad days.
Yeah.
You know, but that's just life in general, I believe.
Right.
You know, but like one thing that I would love to see the VA put into their system is, instead of just trying to help the veteran himself, I would like them to see them try to help the family.
Gosh, that's good.
You know, especially if that veteran is married and has kids.
Yeah.
Okay. And I could say this from experience that me having this it is one of the reasons why, yes, I lost my ex-wife. My son and I get along in that, which he's about to ship off to the service here soon in that. But I told him I want him to make his own path. You know, my daughter, and this is no offense towards any type of a female, but girls are a little bit more emotional. No,
I'll agree.
And
I'll agree with that.
And I could admit that, yes, I was not the best father.
Okay.
And the reason being is because I didn't have a grasp on what was wrong with me, and they saw the effects of what I was trying to deal with, and they just thought that all I ever saw was red and anger, and that I was always just mad about everything. So, but yeah, I would truly love to see the VA put in place to where it actually helps the families and not just the veteran deal itself.
That's very good. That's a very good point. With our healthcare systems, and I think with the VA as well, I think one of the problems we have is they're overwhelmed. The systems themselves are overwhelmed, and people are typically good. They go into these fields because they want to help, but what happens is it becomes so chaotic
and overwhelming.
And you've got these case managers or social workers, or they call them patient advocates within the system, but they're not real patient. Well, they're called patient advocates, but they're glorified customer service people trying to handle your complaints and trying to work with you. But usually, from what I think, it's after the fact. It's reactive.
Yes.
Where proactively, if you think about an advocate coming in and saying, okay, I see you as a whole person. I see your family as a whole person, because if we look at you as your whole person, we have to look at your family too. So it's making sure that everybody becomes whole and everybody becomes healthy, because at this point, which I think is amazing, now you articulate, I did see red.
Yeah.
I saw red. I didn't know I was seeing red, but now I know why I'm seeing red. What was your earliest interaction with the VA like?
A little bit chaotic, you know, because when I was getting out, you know, and everything else, and that they were so backlogged with everything to where I saw a lot of vets have to wait years before they even got a decision, a rating.
Yeah. For sure.
And now I think the last time that I heard in that they're on a backlog of like 3 to 4 months still. No, so, and then again, you know, I mean, one of the things is that to what the VA likes to see is proof. They have to see some type of a military record stating, hey, you did this, you done that, and that, you went to sick call for this or that.
A lot of time that's not there, though.
No, it's not.
It's not there, especially with veterans like yourself that, buck up and don't complain. And that's where the problem lies. And that's where consistency and continuity of care matters when you're out.
Yes.
But you keep showing up. You keep going to the doctor. You keep saying, no, this hurts. And you let them know where it occurred.
Yes, ma'am.
And how it occurred. Because so many veterans like yourself and prior, now it's a little bit different, I will say. They're really good at marking, my thumb hurts, and it gets documented, but not so much with you guys, you combat guys and back and women, because you are taught not to complain.
Yeah.
And that makes it very difficult to find things.
Yes, because we are trained, and again, this was a long time ago, and that the service has changed since, but we were trained to where we didn't show any type of emotions, feelings. If we got a cut in that, you put sand or dirt in it and that and rub it, we good to go.
Right.
So,
and the Vietnam guys, they'll tell you what, they're really struggling. Nothing is in their records.
No.
Generally nothing. And it's, so then they're having to prove service connection. And I'm not going to ask you, but you know what they saw.
Yeah.
They saw what you saw, but differently, right?
Oh, yeah. And a lot worse.
So, and injuries can occur, a back injury can occur, and then it can keep reoccurring because of the first injury that you have.
Yep.
The same thing with hearing loss, So you've injured your hearing drum, and then over time it progressively gets worse, and then
you get the ringing in your ear,
right,
and it comes and goes.
Right.
Yeah.
And they may say, hey, well, it probably happened at your other job. Well, how could it? I was a certified public accountant. I mean, just things like that. Just, so, and it's definitely harder for I think it's harder for combat veterans. I really do.
Well, with that, I could think back to which I actually confirmed with a friend of mine on this. When we were getting out of Iraq Part 2, we had to go through a bunch of medical screenings and that, where we put on a set of headphones and had like a keypad in front of us and that either press 1, 2, or 3. And before we even did that, our first sergeant told us, if you mark yes about if you have a TBI or PTSD or anything else in that, then they are just going to kick us out and everything else.
So you're not going to tell them. And
No.
just for the viewers, TBI is a traumatic brain injury. And PTSD, we use those words like crazy, I know. Post-traumatic,
Stress syndrome.
Stress syndrome, thank you. And the reason I say that is because I was once with a veteran and somebody said to him, you realize you have PTSD? And he said, I don't know what those 4 letters mean. And he was a Vietnam guy. So we just assume, I even assume, you and I are using it like, but that's normal. Those are acronyms that we use today. So before you heard about what a board certified patient advocate does, and I do want to get with you after this because I think you and I can, come together. I want to talk to you more, get to know you more. That's really important to understand what veterans are looking for, not what I'm looking to do for the veteran. But what do you think it would have been like from your start to, to have someone like me, doesn't have to be me, helping you guide, navigate, kind of looking objectively at you, your family, seeing you as a whole person, and what would have that been like to help you afterwards?
I think it would have probably been a lot easier.
Okay.
I mean, when we get out in that, we don't really get a lot of help, especially when it comes to certain things. I personally feel that if a person could be helped, guided, and mentored to where you should qualify for this, you should qualify for that and that. To what the service don't tell you to when you're getting out is what you qualify for. And there's a lot of stuff out there that vets don't even know that they qualify for. And that really frustrates me because the VA also don't list everything that they offer or to what vets qualify for. Because in some cases, either our government don't want to fork out the money for it, or it's just a big stink in that aspect.
I understand, and that way you're aware of all your options. And one thing about, and I do say board certified patient advocate, not to be a snob, but to differentiate, because our allegiance is the person in front of us, whether it's a civilian, whether it's a veteran. We do not work for the VA. I used to work for the VA. I left the VA because it was, to me, I felt that it was more anti-veteran.
Yeah.
And I left the cushiest job you can ever imagine. And, and here I am, and I, struggle, because it's trying to get the word out there. And when I say struggle, it's because it's a new business and it's a new concept, but nobody owns me. The VA doesn't own me. The healthcare system doesn't own me. The doctors don't own me. You own me. I work for you. So there's not noise. And I'm here I can't promise you, I can't guarantee you anything, but I would recognize what you are sharing with me as, okay, you tell me what you need, and I'm going to go and see if we can do this. And I do agree with you. I do think the whole family, and, and perhaps early on, sometimes I can recognize the importance of faith in people's lives without I don't push anything, and I don't tell people what to do, but I do recognize the importance of having that whole recipe.
Yes.
And not, instead of struggling for so many years. But at the same point, I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
I mean, super proud of you to recognize PTSD as you do, and then to say, okay, my daughter and I, we didn't have this great relationship. I wasn't able to explain that to her, but now I know why.
Yeah, I think that that's one of the toughest thing in that, because again, my kids were young, and the fact that they saw to what I did want to do and what I did not want to do, and then they started to get that in their minds, like we have to, I can't say walk on eggshells around dad, but it's basically to where if I'm having a bad day, they knew to leave me alone.
Okay.
And that hurts because as a parent, you still want to be there for your child no matter what the cause is, and there was a lot of times to where I struggled, to where I felt like a total failure because of the fact that I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that with my kids.
Yeah, I hear you. But do you give yourself some slack now?
It took a long time. I mean, my son is of age now. He gets the gist of dad. My daughter is still on the fence on me.
Okay.
But that's just because when they were younger, I didn't have a grasp on myself. I didn't want to admit that I had a problem. I didn't want to, I was seeing help, and everything else in that, but I didn't fully grasp the whole concept of everything that I did wrong.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Well, and also your conditioning too, when you were in the military as well, that, you don't talk about it.
No, and not show emotion and stuff like that. Yeah.
So did you ever have a VSO, Veteran Service Officer, help you through anything with the paperwork, with
yes.
your VA claim?
Yeah. So when I first got out, when I started to deal with the VA, I had a VSO rep from Pittsburgh, PA.
Okay.
And he actually helped me through some of it.
Okay.
Then he also told me about some of the other stuff that I would qualify for. And he said that, dude, you need to apply for it. What's the worst that they could say? No.
Yeah,
I
of
mean,
course, of course. What would you say to another veteran who is just too tired or sick? They just want to fight. They're tired. They've done it and they're just not getting anywhere.
the struggle was real,
Yeah.
but there's so much more that we could do for each other to help each other.
Okay.
No, I mean, my friends still call me if they're having a rough day, and vice versa. I still keep in contact with them. That, or we'll talk about the good old times which we had. I mean, again, it wasn't all bad.
Right.
I mean, I did have a lot of great times.
Yeah.
So
What's one of the things professionals, from case managers to doctors, to nurses, that don't understand about veterans with PTSD that they really should?
believe what the veteran is actually saying and have patience.
Okay.
That's it. And don't ask dumb questions.
What's a dumb question?
Well, I had this one person ask. My wife was beside me in that, and she asked me, Thomas, what is the least amount you ever weighed? And of course, I'm a smart ass, so I was like, 6 pounds 5 ounces. And her face just dropped. It was like, dude, there's something wrong with you. I'm just like, well, you asked a legitimate question.
Right.
I gave you a legitimate answer. I'm just
Right.
like, I'm not gonna say, I don't know.
Well, it's that directness that you learned in the military.
Yes.
Because I did learn about that recently from another veteran.
Yes.
That directness, and then you get out into this world, and you transition, and things are a little bit more confusing because things were very
Cut and dry.
cut and dry.
Yes.
Okay. And if you could redesign, I wrote this question differently, but I want to ask, if you could redesign the VA, how would you do it? What would you fix? And what are your thoughts?
So one thing I think that I would have to say is that a lot of the doctors in the service, I would prefer them to be the doctors through the VA.
Really?
Yes. And the reason being is because they have more of a connection, because again, it's like you said, they've been there, they've done that, so
Right.
they know, and they've dealt with more vets and everything else. Now, I mean, yeah, I think that it might be a smidge bit tougher to get a rating, but
Right.
I mean, I just feel that it's because they're basically on the same page as you.
Okay, that makes sense. I subscribe to, do you know Combat Craig? Have you ever watched him?
No, ma'am.
His YouTube channel. And he, I think it took him 20 years. He was a combat veteran. And he says that, and I found this to be true with the limited amount of veterans that I've worked with, that civilian doctors are more understanding when it comes to their service connection.
That's true to a point. Yes.
Is it?
Yes. I mean, I have dealt with a lot of docs outside of the VA, and that to which has actually helped more than what the VA can offer and say and do, and everything else. And that, they're a little bit more, I can't think of the word.
It's almost like they're discouraged.
I'd say
From
a little bit more of sympathetic.
Okay.
If that makes if
Okay.
that's the best word to
I've
describe
actually kind of heard them say, well, I'm here to help treat your symptoms, not help you there. So it's interesting. But I always tell people, don't go in saying, hey, I'm here because I'm trying to get disability.
Yeah.
Go in and talk about your symptoms.
Yes.
But this is just what I've found with civilian doctors, that they listen a little bit more when it comes to understanding the service connection, the possibility if it.
Yes. Yeah.
So, but it's interesting. You have to check him out, Combat Craig,
Okay.
YouTube. He's pretty good. What has kept you going when things were at your hardest?
My kids.
Okay. How do you want your story to help with others? How would you like your story to help others?
I guess the fact that I would want more veterans to get more help, you
Okay.
know, and instead of having it in their head like I can't do this, no, it's too tough, it's too hard. There is always, I believe that there is always a person out there who has it worse than you do. But again, it's all about reaching out.
Okay. That's good. That's good. And who do they reach out to? They reach out to other veterans?
Well, in my experience, yes, I think that we as vets talk to vets a lot more easier, you know, because they get our story, our concepts, just our demeanor itself, you know, because again, we're if you was in the service, to me personally, I think that you're cut from a different type of cloth,
Okay.
you know, is the best way to say it in that, you know, and I think that's why a lot of vets just get along better with other vets.
Okay, makes sense. So we have moved on to a fun round. Is there anything else before we go on to this fun round that you want to say?
I don't believe so, ma'am.
All right, okay. And it's called the quick fire round, and it's just for fun.
Okay.
All right. Coffee or tea?
T.
Okay. Early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
Okay. Beach vacation or mountain vacation?
Mountain.
Oh, gosh, you're good at this. Favorite comfort food?
Oof. I don't think I have one. I really don't.
Really don't?
No.
Like lots of foods?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay. All right. Song that lifts up your mood?
Song that lifts up my mood. Save Me by Jelly Roll.
Okay. One new skill you wish you could master instantly?
Playing the guitar.
Ooh. What's something that might surprise people to learn about you?
That I'm not so much of a mean guy.
I don't see the mean guy.
Oh, believe me, I have a mean guy side, yeah.
Okay. Was that okay? I'm just gonna go back. Was that the pre? Was that? Do you remember you before you went into the military? Was there? Because
Yeah. Again, in that, I used to recognize the person in the mirror, you know, but then for a long time in that, I didn't even know who that person was when I did look in the mirror.
do you remember him before military? Do you remember that person?
Yeah.
Okay. If you could have dinner with any historical figure, and it could be somebody today. It doesn't have to be. Who would you have dinner with?
Charlie Sheen.
Really?
Oh yeah.
How come?
Because he's great.
Okay. All right. Favorite quote or phrase that keeps you grounded?
God isn't going to put you through anything he doesn't think you can't handle.
Okay. All right. Well, I hope Charlie Sheen listens to this and then.
Tiger blood.
Okay. If you could give one piece of advice, here it is, to your younger self, what would it be?
Oh, to my younger self,
Mm-hmm.
get an education.
Okay. All right. You don't see the military as just
So-
as good or just
Well,
as
so my cousin is in the army. My niece, her fiance, my son is about to join in that, and I got other family, you know, in the service. But I've told them all, you know, if you join, get an education while you're in. Because and for me in general, the job that I did in the service, field artillery, it don't transfer
Doesn't.
to a civilian world.
I know.
So get an education while you're in the service. Pick a job that could translate, if the service isn't for you, that you could do in the civilian world.
Yeah.
You know, and you get free college. Take advantage of it. And then, like, my niece is going from green to gold, to which is she is enlisted now. She made E5,
Okay.
which is a sergeant, but she's been going to college to be an officer, to which pays better,
Okay.
you know, and she gets smarter at the same time.
Now, do you have a GI Bill that you can use?
I do, yes.
Is that
But me and school just don't get along. I have to read the same thing at least 3 or 4 times now before it even sinks in.
okay?
So
All right. What about trades? Listen to me. Going back to vocational
I thought about
counseling.
that too, but it's basically to where I don't think that my body itself would be able to handle it.
Okay.
You know, because I can only sit for so long.
Okay.
I can only stand for so long.
Okay.
You know,
I hear
and
you.
then I got to go and do this, and it's
I also think that you have a great platform to talk to veterans that struggle.
well,
You know, I mean, not necessarily with education. You know,
yeah. So
but you do. I mean, it sounds like you really are at a place where you can make such a difference with veterans that were where you were to get to where you are now.
yeah. So to play off that is that before my friend Matthew and that reached out to you, I actually talked to him and I told him that I wanted to actually start my own podcast
Okay.
about stuff about vets to what I personally feel to which we should have in just in general, you
Mhm.
know, and what they should try to do and should not try to do. You know, I mean,
Right. Right. That's great. That is good. That's a good idea. I want to come on your podcast. So please have me, and
yes,
I'll
ma'am.
talk about being a board certified patient advocate. But I do want to thank you for sharing your story with honesty
Not a problem.
and strength. I think you helped us understand a little bit more about your service, the battle after the battlefield, and what that looks like. A lot of us don't really know. I don't think we're the experts. I think you're the expert. And we're here to understand from you to see what we can do and how we can help you. You know what you've been through. And I think I've really learned a lot from you. Your story does remind us why patient advocacy matters, especially when the systems in place are very difficult to navigate.
Yes.
And to our listeners, if you know someone who is struggling, please know advocacy is not a luxury, it's a lifeline. Visit mypatientadvocate.us to learn how we can help walk beside you with strategy, compassion, and results. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having
So
me.
glad you're here.
Thank you.
Thank you.